Hey guys, so today I'm explaining how science fair works in the Thompson School District. So to start off, you're going to have a board that looks like this, and it's basically just going to show your entire experiment and what you did and what you found out. So right here, you should have your main question, which is what are you trying to find out? For example, if you're trying to find out what keeps sliced apples fresh the longest, that would be your question there. Then right here you're going to have your hypothesis, which is basically what you think is going to happen in the experiment. So a good hypothesis would be, I think Fruit Fresh will keep the sliced apples fresh the longest because it came from the store, so it was made by scientists. Then right here you're going to have your variables, which is anything in the experiment that can change. Like if your apples were bought at different times, the size of the slices, what room they were in when you were doing the experiment. Those are all things that can change that you need to be controlling. Then you're going to have an independent variable, which is the one thing you change. For example, it would be what you're using to keep the apples fresh. Then your dependent variable is going to be what's changed by that, which is what apples stayed fresh the longest. Then right here you're going to have your research, which is not really necessary for elementary school kids, but it is necessary for middle school and high school. Your research is going to be done before you even start the project, just to find out baseline things that you might need to know, like what kind of apples there are or what causes apples to mold. Right here, you're going to put your materials. This is anything you use to complete the project. So, apple slices, a knife to cut the apple slices, every single thing you use to keep the slices fresh, what container you stored them in, all of that. So then right here you're going to have your procedure, which is the steps you took to complete your project. Someone reading your board should be able to recreate the experiment using the steps that you listed on your board. The experiment should be repeated at least 3 times, and for middle or high school, 5 to 10 times. It should be repeated a lot so you make sure your results are accurate. So right here you're going to have data, which will be a graph or a chart or pictures of your experiment after you finish and basically what happened. Then right after it, you're going to have your data analysis, which will be what information you got out of the data you have. Okay, so at the very end you're going to have your conclusion, which is a summary of your project and what your results were, whether or not your hypothesis was supported, any reasons why it may or may not have been supported, and anything you think you could do better next time. Okay, so this is an example of a middle school or high school project. The main difference between an elementary school and middle school project is going to be the abstract, which is basically a very short, like 1-page long summary of your project, so you can shortly list your hypothesis, the procedure, and your conclusion, so that people who don't have time to read the whole board can just read that and find out what happened in your project. So you're also going to have background research and sources, which is going to be anything you need to know before you start the project. Like for this project, it would be how propulsion works, because you need to know that before you can test different types of scuba diving fins. And then you're going to cite your sources down here, which is basically wherever you looked for research that you've found useful information. And also on a board like this, if you have any pictures, you're going to have to say who took the picture.